Donald Trump slammed his hand on the table, his face flushed with disbelief. "What did you just say?" he barked, eyes narrowing as he looked at his youngest son. The room went dead silent. Advisors frowned. Cameras hesitated. Even Melania raised her eyes from her phone, unsure if this was about to turn into a full-blown family crisis in front of the press. But the boy didn't flinch. Calm, collected, and staring straight at his father, he repeated his words. "Jesus' love is bigger than your power, Dad. It never ends." For a moment, Trump didn't know whether to laugh, explode, or simply walk away. His ego built over decades of dominance. He was suddenly challenged not by an enemy, not by the media, but by the innocent voice of his own son, speaking a truth too pure to ignore. The air crackled with tension. The man known for never backing down now stood speechless, staring into the eyes of a child who had just turned the spotlight toward heaven and away from him. It began the night before at the Trump family residence, where bedtime conversations drifted from stories of knights and dragons to deeper discussions about faith and eternity. According to insiders close to the family, the boy had been asking questions about why Jesus loves humanity and what it means to have faith. His curiosity was relentless, the kind that keeps adults scrambling for answers, fumbling with explanations that often fell short. When his father, Donald Trump, noticed his son's insatiable thirst for understanding, he decided to encourage him to share his thoughts publicly, hoping that his perspective might inspire others. Little did he know that those simple questions would culminate in a declaration so heartfelt it would go viral within hours. On the day of the event, the child was surprisingly calm. He approached the microphone with innocent determination, his small hands gripping the sand. Camera zoomed in, capturing every droplet of sweat on his forehead and every flutter of his eyelashes. Then, in that hushed moment, his voice rang out with surprising conviction. "Jesus' love never ends because his heart is bigger than the sky." Simple words, yet weighted with the kind of hope that can mend broken spirits and reignite dormant faith. You could see it in his eyes, that fierce, unshakable belief that transcends age. It wasn't rehearsed or coached. It was pure, unadulterated truth spoken with a sincerity that only a child can muster. Immediately, the atmosphere shifted. Adults found themselves blinking back tears, moved by the purity of his conviction. A hush fell over the crowd before spontaneous applause broke out, rippling like waves through the audience. It was as if the room collectively exhaled, releasing years of skepticism and conditioning, if only for a moment, to embrace the raw truth spoken by a child. Social media lit up within seconds. Clips of the boy's speech spread like wildfire across platforms, accumulating millions of views before lunch. Hashtags celebrating his statement trended worldwide, while thousands of comments poured in from people of all backgrounds, some sharing how those words reminded them of childhood Sunday school, others confessing that they had never before felt comfortable expressing faith so openly. Critics and skeptics were quick to point out the political backdrop, arguing that the moment was orchestrated for media attention. Yet, as more details emerged about the boy's genuine curiosity and the family's personal conversations, it became clear that this was not a political stunt, but rather an honest glimpse into a child's heart. His words transcended party lines and ideological divides, resonating on a level deeper than any campaign slogan. Even those who disagreed with Donald Trump's policies found themselves pausing to acknowledge the purity of the moment and the insightful simplicity of the boy's observation. Parents in the audience clutched their children a little closer, while grandparents nodded in solemn agreement, memories of their own childhood faith stirring within them. Reporters scribbled furiously, realizing they had stumbled upon a moment that would make headlines. Even seasoned political observers paused to reflect, recognizing that beyond politics and power, there exists something far more, universal hope. In that brief moment, a powerful truth emerged. Children often see things adults overlook. Their unfiltered perspective cuts through layers of complexity and doubt, revealing purity and faith in its rawest form. That's why what this little boy said about Jesus matters so much. It's more than just an adorable anecdote. It's a reminder that revelation can come when you least expect it, and it can come from the most unexpected sources. Religious leaders also weighed in, praising the boy's unfiltered perspective. Several pastors quoted his phrase in their sermons the following Sunday, using it as a springboard to discuss the boundless love described in the Gospels. Bible study groups dissected the theological implications of a heart bigger than the sky, marveling at how a child could distill centuries of doctrine into such a succinct statement. For many, his words served as a powerful reminder that faith is not defined by eloquence or formal education, but by the sincerity of the heart. Meanwhile, mental health experts noted the therapeutic power of childlike wonder. They suggested that adults often become weighed down by cynicism and complexity, forgetting to view life through a lens of innocence and possibility. By listening to a child's perspective, they argued, we can rekindle a sense of wonder and hope that alleviates anxiety and restorative love. In a world rife with division and doubt, the boy's statement provided a brief but meaningful respite, a collective moment of unity, born from the simple truth of a child's belief. As the days passed, the family shared more anecdotes about their private moments. They spoke of how the boy would draw pictures of clouds and hearts, labeling them Jesus' world. They recounted how he insisted on praying before meals, not out of routine, but out of genuine gratitude for each bite. Parents everywhere watched these stories unfold and felt encouraged to nurture similar expressions of faith in their own children, recognizing that when given space to explore, children can teach the world something profound. In interviews, Donald Trump himself reflected on the moment with unexpected humility. He spoke of the pride he felt witnessing his son articulate such a pure truth and of the way it reminded him of his own childhood faith. He acknowledged that in the hustle of politics, it's easy to lose sight of what truly matters: love, compassion, and the belief that something greater than ourselves watches over us. His words resonated with people who appreciated seeing a leader humbled by the sincerity of a child's faith. The media coverage transformed the boy into an overnight sensation, yet his family insisted that nothing would change his simple routine of cartoons and bedtime snacks. They emphasized that the attention he received would not alter his ability to ask questions, to wonder, and to express himself freely. It was a deliberate choice to protect his childhood from being overshadowed by the glare of fame, preserving the authenticity that made his words so special in the first place. For viewers at home, the moment became more than a news story. It became an invitation to examine their own beliefs and to consider how often they let life's complexities cloud their capacity for wonder. Many shared how they printed the phrase on their walls, turning it into a daily affirmation. Churches displayed banners quoting his words. Families made new traditions of discussing what a heart bigger than the sky meant for them, interpreting it through the lens of their personal experiences. As the story continued circulating, artists created paintings and murals inspired by the phrase. Musicians composed songs that sampled the boy's voice, weaving his declaration into melodies that spread across radio waves. Writers published essays exploring what it means to hold love in a heart that knows no bounds. The simple phrase became a cultural touchstone, reminding people that sometimes the most profound wisdom arrives not from grand speeches or scholarly debates, but from the unfiltered insight of a child. Even as the spectacle of media attention eventually waned, the impact of the moment endured. People returned to their routines carrying an echo of the declaration in their hearts. When challenges arose, whether battles with personal doubt, conflicts at work, or strife within communities, they found themselves whispering those words back to themselves, drawing courage from the idea that love truly is bigger than any obstacle. Ultimately, this unforgettable moment serves as a testament to the power of innocence and the universal longing for hope. It reveals that children, unburdened by the cynicism that so often grips adults, can articulate truths that resonate across generations. In a world frequently divided by ideology and framed by skepticism, a single child's voice reminded us of the transformative power of belief. As you reflect on his words, Jesus' love never ends because his heart is bigger than the sky. Consider how you might carry that spirit forward in your own life. Let it inspire you to speak truth with kindness, to approach the world with curiosity, and to believe in something greater than yourself. And remember that wisdom can come from the smallest voices, and it can carry messages that change hearts and minds in the most unexpected ways. Let this moment be a guidepost, encouraging you to embrace childlike wonder and to hold on to the hope that pure, unguarded faith can still move mountains even when spoken by the tiniest among us.